As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
One of the worst performances of my career, and they never doubted it for a second.
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble.
Son of a bitch. He stole my life.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Welcome back to the Shot by Shot podcast, where we are finally in the last week of the 2024 film season with the Oscars next week. All the prerequisites have been completed. We've got two probably front runners here in Conclave and Anora. What are you thinking so far at this point of the season about what's going to win?
I'm glad that we've actually got a fight this year, even though this award season has just been is gone from starting. It was like Emilia Perez, loads of nominations, and it's just come crashing down for them. Thank goodness. And I can't actually fully tell. Even I think it's going to be Conclave. The Academy love Edward Berger, and I think the SAG and the BAFTA wins has definitely kind of shifted this in their tide. But it's going to be a funny evening, and Conan O'Brien is a very good host, even though the musical guests are nothing related to what's.
What are the musical guests? I know.
There's some pop songs as well that have got no relation whatsoever to the Oscars.
Should we take that? I should have copied that.
I was about to say to bring Robbie Williams. You get Robbie Williams
as well.
That'd be so funny. Oh dear, but yeah, it's been award season is for people. I feel like I shouldn't care about it as much as I should, as much as I do, but I do end up caring about it just because it's so stupid and it's just stressful and infuriating sometimes, even though it doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, it should be an interesting night on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not as interested in Best Picture as I am some of the smaller awards, to be honest. And now that it seems Conclave and Anora are the front runners, I think Conclave's a pretty safe choice, and I think they will go for it. It feels very 90s, that film, both in narrative and if it were to win, it'd feel like we're going back in time a little bit. I'm hoping Anora doesn't do a Brokeback where it sweeps everything but loses out on the big one. I didn't even expect it to sweep when it kept getting news coming out over the few weeks of it sweeping these smaller award ceremonies. I started to get excited, and if it had won ensemble at SAG, I think that would have solidified it for me. But now it's more interesting. I've seen Wicked now. That is not winning Best Picture, and rightfully so. It's not the worst thing I've seen in the world, but it's pretty damn bad. And I'm just pretending Emilia Perez doesn't exist. So Zoe Saldana can enjoy that Oscar, but hopefully it wins nothing else.
Best Picture lineup this year is absolutely horrendous. It is abysmal. Usually you get a decent amount of great films, but there's two great films in the Best Picture lineup this year.
And I just one too. I was thinking this complete unknowns probably in terms of the chances of winning. It probably is top 5, but any other year that's a 8 to 10 range. I say even Conclave is more into that 8-10 range. Not undeserved to be there, I'd say, but they're kind of the ones that just tag along, not the ones that come close to winning.
All I'll say is look at 2023 or 2022. I feel
it sucks
they
because it's been an incredible year last year, and the Best Picture line just doesn't reflect it in the slightest, and it's sad to see.
It is not, but we're gonna go for our top 10 of the year. Tell you what we thought actually should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Right, I'll kick it off then. My number 10 is probably the most interesting film on here. The rest, everyone will have seen. I've mentioned it in previous podcasts, but it's I've settled on Kurosawa's Cloud. It could have been a few different ones. This has a recency bias, to be fair. I'll mention my other 3 that could have been top 10, which was Hitman, which I think has suffered from being a really early release. I don't really remember much, to be honest. I just remember really enjoying it. I had Brutalist in 12th. That second half kind of stopped it from being a top 10 for me. And then I had The Apprentice in 11th, which is also fairly recent. But yeah, Cloud. Kurosawa's had a good year, very good year. He had Chime as well. I don't really like including that, even though it's in that awkward gap between short film and feature
It's a
length.
feature film. It is feature length. It's
It
over
is
40
feature
minutes.
length, but I don't know.
It is,
It
to be
feels
fair.
weird lumping it in. This didn't even get into the lineup, the final lineup of best international feature, which I think is a little harsh. To be fair, I've not seen a ton of the international feature category, but yeah, it's Kurosawa. He goes away from the like paranormal, weird, analog horror, and he goes more down the action thriller route, but it is still quite psychological and frightening. And just like Pulse, it's really reflective of the modern world and internet culture because he's ripping people off online, and then eventually his actions have consequences. And I'm not the biggest action fan, but the final act is definitely the peak of this film, where he's being hunted down by this angry mob. The choreography is really good. The performances are strong from everyone. It's only got 10, not even 10K logs. It's broken. It's barely gone up from when we did the lesser seen film list. So hopefully this gets a wider release and people can watch it. But yeah, that's my.
It hasn't even been released, let alone wider release. It comes out in the US in the summer and it comes out here in April. So,
Well, hopefully by the end of this year, people have seen it.
yeah, it's a banger.
It's a banger.
Yeah, I was thinking about watching it in preparation for this because there's alternative sources to get it, but I'm going to just wait for the theatrical release. Since it's Kurosawa, I have high expectations.
I'll probably
for
give it money.
It doesn't crack my my top 10 of 2024, but an incredible year, and I love the film. But yeah, I got to see it at film festival, and it's really, really, really fantastic.
Nice. And what did you give that for?
No.
Yeah, strong for me.
Oh, yeah. Wait, let me check. I know it was a 4. Yeah, strong 4 as well.
Nice. Yeah. Wait, is it May? You said that comes out, Oscar?
April, I think. End of April.
Nice.
Yeah.
My 10th was kind of hard to pick between because there's a few films that I think are great. I won't spoil my ones that get close. But for number 10, I just went for The Brutalist. Maybe a bit of recency bias here, but we've done a full podcast breaking down our thoughts on this. Flawed, but I think it's still great. And I got a chance to see it in 70mm 2 weeks ago, finally, which I think kind of cemented my thoughts as just thinking it is still one of the best of the year. We kind of brought down our thoughts, so I won't go into too much detail, but I think seeing it in film kind of did change it, and it kind of felt like seeing, honestly, some of the moments for the first time again. Made me think about, there's a Spielberg clip where he says that if you shoot a flower on digital, it's just a flower, but if you shoot on film, it's a moving image. And it kind of felt like that at times, honestly. Like it felt like you were seeing the images for the first time, especially that Statue of Liberty one. There's like film grain moving about it, all about the Statue of Liberty, like when you're seeing it in 70mm, and it feels completely different to seeing it normally. So yeah, I really loved that, and again, one of the best scores of the year. Yeah, number 10. Solid 4, I'd say.
I agree.
Nice. Yeah, interesting that your 10s are 4s, because my 10 is a 4.5. And my 10 is Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. The discourse around this film is pretty insufferable, because I feel like there's just so much, people just cast it aside and just, I don't know. It's just, obviously the Letterboxd average is crazy, and yeah, I've done a podcast on this, so go and check that out.
Mm-hmm.
But this film is just such a testament to him as a filmmaker and his journey, and it is like prime time old man cinema. It is crazy. I love the kind of the CGI, and I think the way it looks is perfectly stylized to what the film is going for, and I think it really does suit it really, really well. There's some gorgeous sequences in here. It's absolutely hilarious from start to finish, and I people really overblowing the the whole kind of how confusing and incohesive it is. And I just have such a great time with it, and it is a really incredible film and one of the best of 2024. And I think, Ryan, do you have this in your top 10 as well?
I do. I have this at number 4 still. I think this is still one of my favorite experiences of the year in theaters. Yeah, it really is. Kind of just sums up. I don't know if it's. I never know what to say about Coppola's magnum opus is. I don't think he really has. I don't know if he has one definite one.
That's interesting.
You
But
can't
this
really
is one
say
of the.
I feel like Apocalypse Now is his magnum opus.
Yeah,
honestly,
that's definitely my favorite from him.
That's not my favorite, but I think it's his magnum opus.
I'd agree with that. I don't think you can call Godfather because there's 2 of them, and they're both like debated about which is better. Apocalypse Now is not my favorite, but I think filmmaking it probably is peak.
I think Apocalypse Now incorporates the best of his filmmaking style, all of it together into that film. But yeah, Megalopolis he has become such a different filmmaker and evolved to what he was in the 70s and the 80s. Like modern day Coppola is extremely underrated. He's made kind of few little films, Twix, Tetro, and this now, all extremely underrated films and vastly different from what he was making. And if you haven't really seen those, then you're going to be lost in the first place with this, I think, and bewildered by like, how did this guy make The Godfather? Yeah, really, really, really incredible film, though.
Yeah, like it's not even just because we're obviously massive fans of Coppola. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Twix. I think it's one of my least favorite projects from him.
It's terrible.
Great film, absolutely great film.
Yeah, you would be a big shock if you're not aware of his dive into like digital cinematography leading into this film. But yeah, it really just kind of sums him up as a filmmaker, but how he kind of just adapts to the film, and his style isn't always that Godfather type classical style that you could expect from him if you've not seen his whole filmography. Yeah, really great. I think the performances are great as well. I think that's in Trap or like the 2 films of the year that really kind of define kind of your style and
Litmus
what you like
test.
in film. Like if you're like someone who
Litmus test.
nitpicks like dialogue and
Yeah,
stuff, or you prefer the visuals.
both brilliant films as well.
Yep. I don't think Trap's in any of our top 10s, is it?
It's just outside of mine.
It's mine. I won't say anything, but it is in my top 10. Yes. Yes, I will be speaking about Trap very shortly.
What's your number 9?
Number 9, Daniel.
Trap. Yeah, it is. I've passed the litmus test, I guess, of weird dialogue and shit. Megalopolis. I did like Megalopolis. It's 34th though for me. It's nowhere near my top 10. I did give it a 4 originally, and then I thought about it and I dropped it to 3.5. I did also have an awful cinema for that, but that sort of felt immersive for the film because of the like online reactions. So many people were on the phones and like
seeing it in IMAX
getting up and leaving.
Yeah, I've seen it in an empty IMAX theater.
Yeah, mine was like at 12 midday and it was packed, so at least Coppola was getting the bag. But people kept
the people yearn for Francis Ford Coppola, even though it flopped horrendously.
But yeah, Trap is like has the worst average on Letterboxd. I think 2.7 now. It's like drops.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's a very strong 4 for me. It's my favorite performance of the year is Josh Hartnett. I don't think he's the best from an acting standpoint, but for like screen presence, I think he's hilarious, and I think he's intentionally hilarious. Shyamalan's daughter, I'm not so sure about the intention of the like character, but she gets some good laughs. Trap feels like it's gonna end like 5 times. That's my one criticism of it. They get out the like theater and there's like another 45 minutes, and then they like go to his house, and you think it's gonna end there, and Josh Hartnett just keeps escaping, and then even at the end, you think, oh
That's
no, there's another 20 minutes because he's like under his ankles in prison. But yeah, I think it's not one of Shyamalan's best, but he's back to like, well, I say he's back to form, but I like nearly every Shyamalan. I like old on rewatch. So I think he's cooking away nicely. I think Glass is pretty bad, but I've only seen that once. But yeah, I think this is a litmus test. I don't really trust people who don't like this. And looking at my ratings from friends, it has literally every single rating being given out. So yeah, this is definitely a litmus test on what sort of goofy cinema you like. But I loved it.
Yeah, I think just like I said, just outside of my top 10 as well. But Mook to Prom absolutely cooks. It's like not even crazy how visually brilliant this film is, and M Night's direction, and just no recognition, and it's not even like in his Mook to Prom's top 2 best projects of the year as well. And yeah, brilliant film.
Queer second, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've Trap and Queer quite close actually. Yeah, I just don't understand the hate on Trap. Like at worst, it's just a fun time of the movies. I don't understand the 2.6
I don't know what people
award rating.
expected from it either. Like watching the trailers, I just don't.
There's so many coincidences.
I can't comprehend not like it's a Shyamalan film.
I know.
He's cooking though. He'll have like 8 more films in the next 4 years probably. So that will be feasting.
Yeah, we got that Jake Gyllenhaal film with him next. That's gonna be very excited for that.
He's got more written out in his diary. He does like 10 films in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my top 16 of the year. It's very close to the top 10. My number 9 is Sing Sing. One that I can't believe didn't get as much. Well, it got a lot of critical praise, but I can't believe that it didn't get lauded with Oscars when it came to nomination morning.
I know.
Because
I thought he was going to get Best Actor and everything, like Common Domingo. I know he's been nominated, but I thought when I watched it, he was going to be like the lock for it. But it doesn't seem like he is at all.
Yeah, when I came out of the screening for it, I thought Coleman Domingo was winning Best Actor. The whole kind of idea of just prisoners using acting as a way to find purpose in their life is what you'd think would be exactly what the Academy would want. But for some reason they've not attached themselves to it. But I think this is a beautiful film. Some great handheld cinematography in there. Lots of long takes. A brilliant ensemble. Just nothing that's you couldn't love. I don't think.
Yeah, it's
another 4 out of 5.
It's my number 7, so I'll speak about it as well. I think I gave it a 4.5. Yeah, I just echo what you say. Really, I think Clarence McLachlan, did he get a nom? Because I don't think he did.
No,
that's a
He was
robbery.
snubbed.
I think it was a bad snub. Yeah, I just feel like it's fallen under the radar a little bit, which I wasn't expecting. It's in the top 250 on Letterboxd, but from like
only 100k logs.
Only 160k logs, which in like
they
current
butchered the
Letterboxd,
distribution.
yeah, they did. To be fair, maybe that we should be like really pointing the finger at
A24
because they're doing like international releases really dirty. And Neon on. I know everyone like memes that Neon's their new favorite director, but A24 have really got the ball.
Movie of the Goats.
Movie of the Goat director. But yeah, Sing Sing is very good, and it's a shame that they've botched the release so bad because I think it has hurt everyone involved's chances at Oscars.
Yeah, but it's such an obvious Oscar player that I think they overthinked it too much, and then just nobody's seen it.
Yeah. It was also in my cinemas for like 2 weeks, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks, which is weird. It got like a very limited.
It wasn't.
Where I was.
It was in my.
It wasn't playing at my local. I saw it back in September. But yeah, great film. Not in my top 10 though. My number 9 is, I'm not sure if anyone else has this in their top 10. Maybe it's close, but Jane Shumbrun's I Saw the TV Glow. Really, really, really fantastic film. It feels very personal to what they're going for. I know Jane mentioned just it's about for anyone who kind of just spent their summers in basements watching TV, and it really feels like that. Obviously, big play on identity, and it's so lost in this world, and it's just very Twin Peaks: The Return. And I think I think it's just one of those films. There's been a lot of films this year that I just think have aged really poorly from already, that are just quite forgettable, and this just isn't one of those films. And I know people have been complaining about how one of the criticisms is about how nihilistic this film is. It's just a lot of misery and hopelessness. But for me, I don't know, sometimes just nihilism just really hits itself on the head, especially when it's kind of done in this fashion, and it incorporates so much about like I said, identity, and what am I trying to say? Like the digital age and streaming as well. And it is such a beautiful and sad reflection on that. And I just get so lost in the film's visual language and its use of color. And it is really, really brilliant. But yeah, that is my number 9. Do any of you have it in your top 10?
It's in my top 20, but no, not top 10.
I do. It's my number 7. There's a
nice
high 4. I think I classify it as horror. That's another one of the great
horror, if you're calling it that, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
The great practical effects, the TV show and the movie. I think it's definitely horror. It's influenced by horror TV.
Yeah. And I'm not a Lynch.
I think horror's always been a great platform for queer cinema. For decades now, and yeah, just a beautiful film. I think I love the kind of Lynch influences in there, like you were saying. Really was the year of really seeing the influences of The Return all over movies, and the songs in this have really stuck with me. I still listen to them.
Not to mention.
Yeah, the incorporation of the band actually playing in the movie, just like at the end of the Twin Peaks: The Return episodes. And it was original songs for the movie, and I really loved them. And just the whole structure of it was just really unique compared to anything else really that came out this year. Beautiful film, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That the anthems for a 17-year-old. That track has just been in my head all year. It's brilliant. It's so unique and completely snubbed at all award seasons this year because it's crazy. So many artists, and it fits the film so well, and I love how they incorporated that in there. But yeah, fantastic performances as well. Really fantastic performances.
It was good to see Justice Smith outside of like Detective Pikachu and stuff.
Oh dear, that's definitely a film. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do next. I think it's going to be like some queer teenage slasher from what I've heard.
Yeah, that sounds so good. If they do like a almost like Scream meta slasher movie, I would love that.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire meets Friday the 13th, which is crazy. And that sounds great. So, and I do love World's Fair as well, which is another brilliant film.
My go.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Terrible with a sword. Okay, my next one is probably going to have one of the biggest rating disparities between us all. My 8 is Gladiator 2. I loved it.
Good film.
I loved it. I was legit crying at the end. That's how much I loved it.
I might lower my rating. I haven't thought about that film.
I might put it up to a 5 if you lower it. God damn it.
What do you have at right now?
I was going to say, I have it at 3. It's like borderline at 2.5, to be honest. It just doesn't feel right.
Oh, I thought you had it lower. I thought someone had it at like a 2.
That's Isaac.
That's that woker. Yeah, Gladiator 2. Oh, it's even got a million logs. I love to see it. Yeah, I just love Ridley's new film. People hated Napoleon. I was a original meat rider of that. I didn't even see that in the cinema either. I watched that on like a small computer screen. When I saw Gladiator 2 in the cinema, I was like, this will be like a 3.5. And I don't know, when he's like I sound like a Snyder fanboy or something, but when he's like fighting the monkeys in the like auditorium, I was like, this is amazing. These CGI monkeys, and then they do like the water battles in the Colosseum, and I do not care how scientifically accurate that is. That is just amazing. Denzel's like nowhere near it at his best, but he's riffing pretty well in this.
He is easily the best part of that film,
and he's like elevating everyone else how good he is. I thought the two emperors were fun to watch. As like nowhere near Joaquin Phoenix as an antagonist, and Paul Mescal's pretty weak to be honest. Even though I like love him, he's nowhere near a Russell Crowe. Might have been an unnecessary sequel, and it does do a lot of them like stupid legacy callbacks that films do. I did roll my eyes a couple of times, but I don't know. It sucked me in, and I really enjoyed it. So I can't like pretend I wasn't going to give it a 4.5. It's like my biggest surprise of the year, I'd say. And I know you guys didn't love it as much as me.
Both Gladiator films are just perfectly all right and nothing more.
Even the first one.
Even the first one.
Wow.
I think the first one's great.
The most interesting parts of those films, aside from Denzel and 2, is the afterlife visuals. Like, I wish
I think they
Ridley
were
would
kind of
experiment
lacking in
them.
part 2, honestly.
Yeah.
They were the most interesting aspect visually of that film. Maybe you had like the bit with the purple sky was really nice, and then you kind of had the almost black and white looking afterlife stuff, which is really cool. But yeah, that film is just, I don't know, just don't really care. Apart from the monkeys and the sharks and Denzel.
That's a lot of good stuff.
In ways, it was like a bit improved on the Gladiator, but then like I don't know. I think the cinematography was a bit downgraded. I mean, the cinematographer literally came out and was slagging Ridley about his like multi-camera setup.
The multi-camera things. I don't know. The multi-camera things just feels kind of cheap in a way. I know it's more efficient, but I don't know. There's just something about it that way. It just feels like it's almost like a lack of care. But I don't know.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's not my favourite, but that's kind of guess where like late stage career Ridley's at right now. He's just about efficiency, getting in there, getting it done, getting it.
Finish the David trilogy. That's all we want. Finish the David trilogy.
It's the Romulus trilogy that's happening now.
Save us from this Romulus nonsense, please. It's so bad.
Shout out Fred Tetchinger for Gladiator as well. He's been employed this year. Gladiator, Nickel Boys, Craven, and Thelma.
Craven.
Thelma.
Not the best hit, right? But he's been working.
It's 50-50 for me, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Thelma. Maybe I shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
No, I wouldn't bother. My number 8 is another horror film, and it's Nosferatu. I know Nosferatu isn't anywhere near your top 10s, I don't think.
I don't even know where it is.
It's Eggers, come on. It's Robert Eggers releasing in big 2025. I've not loved anything that he's put out. I think it's one of the best looking films of the year. Jaron Blaschke, I loved his work on this. I'd like to see him win the Oscar, but it's going to be
Brutalist, probably.
The Brutalist,
I don't think
yeah.
it's winning anything, unfortunately.
Maybe
I would
not.
like it
Yeah.
to. I would like it to, but it's 30th for me, by the way. It's 3.5.
Where is it for me? It's 78.
I don't want to hear it.
78. I've not even seen 78.
78.
I've seen 82.
78 on the year. That's crazy.
I like the storms kind of calmed down on that. I think it is a solid reimagining of the original. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just it's pretty uninspired.
It's the worst Eggers, but Eggers is so good that that's not much of an insult from me.
It's the worst Eggers by a mile.
Yeah, it's by a mile, but I still think it's a good film.
It's all right. But my number 8, the first of 2 Luca films on this list because he's so good. I have Queer. Oh, what a film! What a film! This is how you nail an adaptation. And Luca goes and Justin Chriskus, who I think is an incredible new writer. Obviously worked with Luca twice. And they go beyond just what's in the book, and they like the last act of the film is almost like I kind of see it as like this meta reflection on William Burroughs as an author. And again, Mukta Prom, absolutely cooking, just insane. The production is stunning in this, and he just captures it in such a unique spotlight. We have this kind of miniature lens, which just adds to the existential feeling that this film gives you. And Craig is so just plays this really lonely and isolated character so well and so detached from everything that's going on around him. And yeah, some incredible shots in here. Just the shot of like his hand reaching out when they're lying in the bed, and the shot of like their legs together as well. Just so sad and so impactful. And yeah, I've seen this twice now, and I absolutely love it. Incredible film.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the filmmaking. I just don't think it really impacted me quite on the level of something like Challengers. Like you're saying, like his performance is quite interior, and it helps having that kind of like exterior knowledge of Burroughs' like life and what happened what happened in his life with his wife. It's quite important to the adaptation. Yeah, it just didn't really. I think it was really good. Just didn't impact me fully to be like one of the best of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think Challenges is significantly better, but that's not to diss Queer, because I did enjoy Queer. It's just I'm same as you. I don't think I've not really thought about it much since seeing it, to be honest. It went in like directions I really wasn't expecting either. The jungle stuff was fun. I'll give it that.
Best needle drop of the year. Maybe?
Oh yeah, Come As You Are. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Daniel, you're number 7.
Sing Sing. So I'll skip over it and go to 6 because we've spoken about it. 6 is.
Are we just going to Ryan for his 7, and then you come back?
Go to you because ICLO TV Goal was my number 7.
Nice.
Okay, that was definitely intentional.
Okay, cool.
So I'll go my 6.
No, it's my 7.
Oh, sure, 7.
Yeah. I'm just gonna refrain from Ryan talking for like the next couple minutes. My number 7 is an incredibly unique film called Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World, from Romanian director called Radu Jude. This is the first film I've seen of his, and he's got 2 more films that are premiering this year. He's already had one at Berlin Film Festival Continental 25, and then he's got Dracula Park, which will be premiering sometime later this year. Yeah, this film is so crazy. I've talked about it briefly before. It's about a production company assistant going around Bucharest interviewing various citizens who have been injured due to working accidents, and like it's shot either in black and white, and when it's not shot in black and white, it's shot through an Andrew Tate Snapchat filter, and it's so funny. There's some really lovely black and white photography in here as well. Yui Ball shows up like halfway through the film and starts raging about film critics. Yeah, but despite it being hilarious, it's also incredibly sad. There's just so much about like the filter that she has on it. Like as the film goes on, like it begins to fade and like color becomes more of the reality that is without that. And he's laughing in the face of death, really. And I just find it so extraordinary and so unique. And just like teardowns of capitalism is not an original thing at all, but when he's done on the level of this, I was just smiling, and I think it's just so wonderful. And don't be put off by the 3-hour runtime because it is brilliant. And I'm just gonna mute Ryan. He's just not allowed to talk at all about this film. And we are going to move on to Daniel's number 6 before Ryan.
We're not moving on. We're not.
Let him cook. He watched
Don't let him cook.
He watched it as ammunition to use against you. That's purely why he watched
Do not
it.
let him cook.
Gotta let him cook.
I was not smiling whilst watching that film. I don't know what my cat's doing.
He's angry. Get him. Get him. He knows.
She was watching with me and fell asleep. Yeah, I don't understand what you're seeing with this film.
It's so good. What do you?
The capitalist thing is kind of interesting for the start. I get kind of making fun of Andrew Tate, which is like the epitome of like almost a joke in the face of everybody that like lives like this, like grinding under capitalism, and it's just him that's like cheated into this ridiculous amounts of wealth. But everything that he kind of says about the film is established in the first 10 minutes, and then it's kind of just 2 hours of repetition of her driving between interviews, and it's just a static shot of her in the car and not much else.
So beautiful.
It's ugly.
And it's not just like capitalism in general. It's so,
I don't even think it looks
specific
good,
to Romania, and you feel that, and obviously with the Andrew Tate stuff, that's because of it. But yeah, like the last shot is like a half an hour long shot that is some work thing. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Just all in color.
I've heard so many
time that it's in color and it's not in a Snapchat filter.
I've heard so many people like talk about how emotionally impacted they were by this like last 40 minutes, and it's just a static
It's so
shot.
good.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
I don't understand any of it.
Like, it's like the cutting between them using them for the accident video and the people who have actually been harmed by it, and like they're just sitting there just in the rain half the time. You can just see in the voices and the acting and just the despair and sadness. But yeah, I think it's brilliant. It's so good.
Yeah, I don't think it's very funny either. The only thing I think it's kind of funny that, or I kind of respect that like someone was allowed to make this in 2025. It goes against all the kind of rules of filmmaking. Like he kind of is just doing what he wants. 10-minute sequence where he just shows like static images with like no music, and it took me multiple tries to finish this movie. That's just a.
Oh dear.
It made me wish I was watching an Ubo movie.
Don't listen to this man. Don't listen to this man.
Ryan had me like crying then. Are we moving on?
What's your number 6, Daniel?
My most recent log for the top 10 is Hard Truths by Mike Lee. It's very good. I knew I'd like this. It's domestic drama. It's like my favorite genre. I'm like a newfound Cassaday like glazer. I love domestic dramas. I said in my review it felt very suffocating, and I think that's accurate. It felt like you were taking a breath and you could never like release it. It just a lot that family is so like troubled in it, but then you like compare it to the bright exterior of the outside, and it's like never nighttime in the film. It's like a really weird contrast, and then you have obviously the more literal contrast with the with her sister and her family, who are like full of life, even though their lives are arguably less comfortable than theirs from like a economic standpoint. I think it symbolizes loneliness and like just in the modern era, even with how connected everyone is, you can still be suffering like alone. It's one of the best like outlooks and anxiety I've seen, and I'm glad I've got a British film in the top 10 because good British films slap. There's a lot of bad British films, but when one comes along, like we're really good at miserable domestic kitchen sink dramas. So I'm glad we've got one this year. yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. It was out
Banger
recently.
film.
It's not really. I thought it was 2025, but it isn't. It's 2024. It's come out quite late, and it's not got any award buzz, but it is very, very good. So yeah, I'd recommend watching it. I don't think either of you got it in the top 10, right?
No, it's my 20, but it's really fantastic. I loved it.
Have you
I've
seen
not
it?
seen
Ryan has been unnecessarily slandering it for some reason.
Has he? And he's not even seen
He
it.
called it. He
Off the
called it like
trailer.
the
I
Channel
don't like the
4
trailer.
film.
Nah, it's good.
It's
It's
so
not.
it's
It's
so
not boomer
beautiful.
bait. It's actually good.
It says so much in the silence of this film and just shots of like people just not talking to each other, and I just found it so sad and so beautiful at the same time. But yeah, it's just it's really great, fantastic performances.
My number 6 is The Beast, which we done a podcast as well on this, on its own. Yeah, another kind of thing that wears its influences on its sleeve. Great mix of celluloid and digital filmmaking. Yeah, just another. I think it's a really good kind of analysis of AI. It's become really relevant even in the small months or the few months that it's came out. It's become even more relevant in the discussion. A good kind of filmmaking movie, really, kind of as well. Even though it's this sci-fi dystopian world that it builds, and I'd really recommend it. It's a really high 4. That was when I wasn't really sure between a 4.5 or a 4. Yeah, I know Oscar also has this in his top 10.
Yes, I do. This is my number 4. One of the best of the year. Really great. Quite Cronenberg-esque in its narrative, and a perfect use of aspect ratio change as well. And there's such an expanse of this film. Is set over so many time periods, and our characters seem to be like playing different people in a way. George McKay is riffing like crazy. Layers they do like incredible performances. I love Bonello as a director as well. House of Tolerance is fantastic. This film is like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but better and more interesting and more emotional. And the ending is one of the best of the decade as well. And it genuinely scared me at times. I think it is incredibly creepy, and it doesn't even try to be. And I just ridiculously fantastic. One of the most underrated scores of the year as well. And yeah, one of the best of the year. Go and watch it. It's just it's one of those films that there's a number of films in my top 10 that premiered at festivals in 2023, and they just they get released in 2024, but they just get lost in the fact that they premiered in 2023 at festivals and get lost in this discourse and awards discussion that it never carries on to Oscars that for 2024 happened this year. There's the same with Due Respect to The End of the World, and another film that I'll mention next, which is my number 6. But yeah, really incredible. Loved it.
What's your number 6?
And my number 6 is a film called Close Your Eyes. This film, sounds so impactful. Films about films. It kind of treats film as this eternal memory, is what it is, but it's kind of juxtaposing the permanence of images of movies against the impermanence of memory. So like those images will always be there until your memory starts fading. I think this is my biggest takeaway from this film. It's about this director who made this film with an actor, and then years later, the actor disappeared just before they were meant to finish filming that film, and kind of years later there's this kind of documentary made about him, and he starts kind of almost searching for him again and finding stuff, and it is so beautiful. and it really weaponizes the fear of forgetting things and uses a tool of emotion, and it is kind of gut wrenching in a way that is so kind of calm, and it's a beautiful piece of slow cinema and how to do it effectively, and it is incredibly well shot and some gorgeous compositions, and yeah, one of the best films of last year. Close Your Eyes. That is my number 6. Would highly recommend.
Your name.
I just watched that. Not to dog. I'm not going to dog on another film that you loved. I didn't love it, to be honestly. But I do agree with everything you said. Really. It's I think you forgot to mention it's a filmmaker. I don't remember his name, but that's his first film in 30 years as well. So there's almost like a meta commentary sense to the narrative of the film. It's because it's him returning as well after 30 years.
I didn't really realize. I was not very familiar with him as a director. I do need to check out more of his stuff. But yeah,
he has a film in the Sight and Sound top 100, I think.
Ooh, interesting. But yeah, really incredible film. The ending is so good.
You're naming made-up films, so
Incredible.
We'll move on to a film everyone knows and Oscar loves. Dune 2. It is miraculous this is in my top 5 because I was a designated Dune hater until Oscar took over. I have removed my rating for Dune 1. I stick by that. I thought it was a slog, but now I like Dune 2. It's probably impossible.
You didn't see that in theaters, though, did you?
I didn't. No, I saw it at home, which did have an impact, obviously. So I have said that when Dune gets re-released, I will watch it in the cinemas. So that's certainly fair. I don't really have anything original to say about Dune 2 because everyone's seen it, and it's like a modern sci-fi epic that Oscar watched 8 times in a row, so obviously got bored of it.
Whoa.
The only negative about it is the performances. I don't think are that crazy good. Apart from, I think Javier Bardem's the funniest for me. It's not the best.
Your only negative is the performances. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think from a filmmaking sci-fi standpoint, it's I know you have an essay on why you don't like it, but I forget your points, to be honest.
I don't even hate it. I gave it a 3.
No, it's funny to spin the narrative that you hate it after your first review going, I don't have anything to say, in 5 stars.
Yeah, but I was on coke fuel.
Copium for the first 5 watches.
Yeah, it was 5. I've just checked. It was 5
didn't want
first
to
3 logs, and then it went 4.5. You saw the cracks for the 4.5. You were like, "Oh, I'm not so sure." And then the next one, it went from a 4.5 to a 3. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. I just find it funny and spin the narrative that you.
It is funny.
It's like a meme. Ryan, is this in your top 10?
It's my number 2 still. I think it's still the best or one of the best theatrical experiences of the year. I also seen it 5 times. I don't think it's perfect.
You don't hate it, though. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't think it's the best sci-fi of all time, like many people say. There's cracks there. Probably, I think the screenplay is probably the weakest aspect, I'd say. In the second half. It's so bad. Maybe the book's bad.
Oh, true.
It's probably just because I've read the book and I'm just gonna be ultra critical.
You're like an elitist, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so hollow compared to the book, especially this part.
I'm gonna finish.
Still a filmmaking feat, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely it is a modern day sci-fi epic. I can't think of one in
I don't know,
that surpasses it.
There was the grand sequences, yeah, but outside of that, I don't know. The direction is fine. Hans Zimmer needs to get his ghostwriters
He locked in for this one.
sure. If I see another Denis was snubbed from Best Director tweet, I'm gonna do something. This is nowhere near. Like I said in the Oscars video, nowhere near. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think Denis understands Frank Herbert all that well. And I think the changes that he's like made and the setup for Messiah and the way he's been talking about it does not have me necessarily looking forward to that. I feel like he's just going to go like a really action heavy, even though there are like no battle sequences or fight sequences in Messiah at all.
I don't think he will, because I think he hates action, to be honest. And honestly, he's not good. He's not good at large scale action set pieces. Honestly, either.
Like there's a lot that happens there's a lot of battles of war that happens in the gap between Dune 2 and Messiah, but it's never shown in the book. It's like it's talked about, but it's like never.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like he's going to go down like the route of just showing that as like massive exposition dump. And yeah, and the setup between Paul and Charlie, their relationship I don't like it. And the way he kind of treats that relationship is like the reflections of there's a lot of Middle Eastern influence in Frank Herbert's work, and I think Herbert treats the Fremen as a better reflection of those influences, so much better than what Denis does. Like I think the Fremen is their like culture and surrounding that is just dead, especially in part 2. Like part 1 I still really, really like. But yeah, I don't know. Charlie's just nothing in this. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have anything to compare it to. I didn't.
Lynch's is better. Lynch's is better.
That's crazy.
This is why you don't
Lynch's
read.
I like Lynch's.
Lynch's Dune is better than Dune Part 2. I will stand by that. It's more visually interesting than Dune Part 2 as well. Like the cast, I prefer Denis, obviously, and story's more fleshed out in a way. But like, I prefer Lynch's Dune to Dune Part 2.
What about Dune Part 1?
No, I prefer Dune Part 1.
Okay.
I maybe I'll rewatch it. See.
Please don't rewatch it. Who's the next? Number 5.
Who that was Daniels. Is you?
Yes, it's me.
5. Yeah.
Yeah, Dune was my number 2. But my number 5 is Challengers.
I'm sure we can all talk about this.
Yeah. I think this was the best collaboration between Mukti Prom, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross. Just double collaboration this year. I think this was all them coming together perfectly. Still, some of the sequences that have blown me away the most all year, like the final like half an hour of whatever it is of the tennis final match, is just some of the most cinematic moments of the year. Can't believe it's been just completely snubbed out of every single award, because it should be in there for pretty much everything, including the performances. Some of the best shots of the year, just really innovative, and its screenplay as well. I loved it so much. Yeah, 4.5. Not rewatched it yet, actually. It's been a while. I need to get back.
That's crazy. I've seen it loads.
Yeah, it's mine number 4. I agree. I thought you liked Queer more, Oscar.
I was close on the 2.
You woke up.
On like Queer rewatch. Like I still love Queer, and I didn't drop the rating at all. But I just Challenges and I rewatch Challenges again. It's just so good.
Yeah. That is a good litmus test for people as well. If you don't like that, like what is going? I think it's like perfect. It's not a perfect film, but every element like complements each other. It looks amazing. The soundtrack, I think, is the best soundtrack of the year. I think, and it didn't even get any Oscar noms. It's like embarrassing.
Yeah. So this is my number 3 of the year. My highest 4.5. It's just Luca understands sex and sexuality in a way, and how to shoot it in a way that isn't awkward or overdone. Like there's literally no sex scenes in this film, and it is ridiculously horny and sensual. It's just a lot of framed body language, legs spread apart, eating like churros and bananas in front of each other. And there's so much sexual tension, and is so brilliant. Is gorgeous, and like you said, every department is firing all cylinders in this film. Just the way Luke moves the camera is extraordinary, and it's electric and so enjoyable. I love the performances as well.
For sure, the best score of the year, I think. It's the one I've went back to the most.
But my number 5 is a film that is on nobody's list, I don't think. It is Hamaguchi's Evil Does Not Exist. A film that is, as I was kind of looking at my top 10 again, I moved it up because I just keep on thinking about it. And I was watching some interviews, and this film was actually built around the score. The composer had asked Hamaguchi to kind of make a film based around the music, and this is what he came up with. And again, one of the best scores of the year. I talked about it in our Oscars videos. Extremely underrated. And his use of music and the way he cuts between how abruptly he cuts off the music and the images of the film, I think just pays dividends. And is this kind of cautionary tale of environment, and obviously Evil Does Not Exist is kind of this play on the fact that this village is so peaceful, and to them evil doesn't really exist, but evil does exist when they get threatened, and them in tandem with the nature around them. And the ending is extraordinary, really. And just so tranquil until it isn't. And the pace of the editing and the music cues just reflect that beautifully, and there's such care, and it is filmmaking marvel. Another film that's firing on all cylinders, really. Just cinematography is off the charts, and I love Hamaguchi. I need to watch more of his films, but Evil Does Not Exist is my number 5 banger.
That's my 17th. It is really good. It's like a high 4 for me. Am I next? Is it number 4 now?
Yes.
You can skip me then, because mine's Challenges, which we've spoken about.
Nice.
Mine's Megalopolis. So do you have a number 4?
And mine is The Beast, which we've already talked about.
Okay,
so
back to me then. My number 3 is The Substance, which is it in yours, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, is it
it's
yours?
My number 3 as well.
Okay, cool. What about you, Oscar? It's not in yours, is it?
No. Where is it now? 42nd.
What?
3.5. It's still a good film. Good film.
Substance was the best cinema experience of the year for me, I think. Because I think we all saw it Scream Unseen, didn't we? Same day.
Yeah.
And we all came out of the cinema at the same time, and we were messaging each other. We were like, "What the fuck have we just seen?" The ending it goes off the rails. It's the most hyperactive, constantly engaging. People criticize it for being repetitive, but I think on rewatch it would suffer a little bit from that structure that it's got. But when you watch it for the first time and you never know what's happening next, it's really engaging. The body horror usually doesn't get me, but when they're injecting the needle into the backs and it's the murky pus, it's disgusting. It's just one of the. It's very French as well, but in a non-derogatory way. Because the French, I give the French stick, but when it comes to horror, the French are really good. And it's getting a lot of award. I knew it'd get award traction, but it seems to be. Demi Moore seems to be a front runner now, which I wasn't expecting. And I would be happy if she won the Oscar, because she's great in this, and the narrative of the film, Oscar likes, an underdog comeback story. So I can definitely see her winning it. And I'm excited to see what the director does next, because I actually need to watch what's it called, Revenge, because that's got really good reviews as well.
It is a great film.
But yeah, it's
Yeah,
my
Revenge is also great.
my favorite horror of the year by quite a distance.
I agree. Would not have believed you if you said that I'd have 3 horror films in my top 10 at the end of the year. Because usually there's not that many great ones. But yeah, I think it's also one of my favorite experiences or cinema experiences of the year. Yeah, we were just all on a high after seeing that for the first time. Did no way would I have expected that it would be accepted by the Academy this much. Not only do they not accept horror, but like this is just like very in your face and very gory. I think the fact that the performances are really great has helped because usually those are the main things that are usually ignored in horror. But it's kind of broken through that. The makeup is kind of undeniable. I think is easily the best practical effects and makeup of the year. Thankfully, it's going to win the Oscar for that at least. Probably on top of that, best actor or best actress, like you're saying. But yeah, just the amount of blood, and just the sound design as well. It should be winning sound because like the sound of them eating, which she also done in Revenge, is a trademark of Coralie for Jaws now, and I think she's really good at it. Good at it. The sound design's really strong in her movies. I love the score as well. Just yeah, I think this is another example of kind of every department coming together and doing a great job. Not one that you can tell is shot completely in France as well. I know nothing gets shot in LA now, but it does. It has such a strong, distinct use of LA as like a character in the film, and it's crazy that it was just fully shot in France. And they managed to seamlessly like just do that without you noticing. But yeah, great film, I think. Another one I'm probably gonna revisit that since it's gonna do well at the Oscars next week. But yeah, I have 4.5 and my number 3. Oscar, what is your number 3?
My number 3 was Challengers. So Daniel,
We got 2 then.
I think we have the same number 2. I think we have the same
Is it
number 2.
Furiosa.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I'm very happy it's in your top 3. It's my first 5 of the year. I've got 2 5s.
Same.
Again, incredible cinema experience. The way they like structure it in acts made this like fly by as well. I love it. A lot of people were like weirded out by no Annie Taylor-Joy in the beginning, but I think that act is just as strong as the rest of the film. Because it has Chris Hemsworth in it, and he's like, that's like a coming of age performance for him. If he can like avoid Marvel slop and like lean into like his weird, goofy persona, he was like, that was really good casting from Miller because I think he's really good in this. Anya Taylor-Joy is like a very good replacement as Furiosa, and yeah, Miller's just firing just as much as Fury Road. I said in my review, as a standalone film, I'd probably watch Fury Road over this, but I think you'd have to watch them together on rewatch because they complement each other so well. So if I do ever watch Fury Road, I'll probably just watch Furiosa before it or after it. And yeah, some of the set pieces, like the flying bikes, he always like finds a way to like take it a level higher. And I think if he did Fury Road again, where there's like a narrative but it's very loose and it's one big set piece, this would have suffered. So I do like that there is an actual like story. It really leans into the fable idea of Mad Max. It feels like a story someone's been told. And then yeah, the ending is so satisfying because it leads directly into the next film. Yeah, I can't praise it enough. I thought this was going to be a front runner with my other favorite film of the year. It did come up short slightly, but if I could, I'd put it joint first of the year, to be honest.
Yeah, it's so incredible. I don't know why anyone ever doubted George Miller after Fury Road, and unfortunately it did flop. But I really hope we get to see one last one, which I know he wants to do. But yeah, I think the structure works so well. It's like this fairy tale kind of thing with like the narration as well as like this crazy odyssey, so metal, and the patience like properly reveal your protagonist until like an hour into the film is so well worked. There's no kind of rush at all there, and yeah, it's so beautiful and it's different. Like people are maybe were expecting it to be more like Fury Road, or maybe disappointed because they are two very different films. From the visual style, the structure, the tone. But yeah, just those every time you get one of those zooms, it gives me life. And yeah, I love Anya so much. And Chris Hemsworth playing an Australian character for once with that accent, not having to do some American accent, is refreshing. But yeah, I can't give it enough praise. But yeah, it's so good. But yeah, that is my number two.
You keep your
I
mouth
rewatched it for this because I just read Blood, Sweat and Chrome, like which was about the production of Fury Road. So I was and I rewatched Fury Road obviously. So I was very excited to rewatch this because I honestly thought I'd maybe even move it up to like the 4.5 range. Which it was just kind of disappointing after watching Fury Road. I don't think I think there's a big gap between them. Fury Road is just like there's moments in Road when I'm just like, this is like the greatest filmmaking spectacle ever, and I don't think there really is as many moments in here when I'm thinking that. I think the two best things from Fury Road are the fact that it's like it all. I mean, it's not all practical, but a lot of it is, and it looks like it is. And the fact that it's pretty much a silent film, and I think a lot of or some parts of Fury Road just kind of go away from that for me. There's a lot of green screen, which I know people are kind of using the visual style as like they don't mind because he does kind of use that in cool moments like the dissolves and the when her mum's on the cross and stuff, but I don't think they're really necessary or not. I love those moments, but I don't think the rest of like the green screen and CGI is really necessary for those to be in the movie. Like I think those would fit with Fury Road if they were in that movie. Yeah, I think this movie's great. Like it really is. It's really tough between the 3.5 and the 4. I just didn't know if I could give it a 4 when I had like so many problems with it. Like it's just kind of disappointing when I watched it.
So
Which hurts to say.
reading makes people lower ratings, so people need to stop reading.
There's a common thread here. Yeah. I was just a bit disappointed. I know I do want to give it a 4. I do respect that he kind of just goes away from your expectations with every like Mad Max movie because none of them are the same. But I think Fury Road is just like honestly kind of a masterpiece, and this just isn't.
Harsh.
Both are. My number two is Furious. So Daniel, what is your number one?
My number one is Anora, which me and Ryan agree on.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was this or Furiosa for one. I said at the start of the year, I knew this would be my top two. Sean Baker and Miller, I have in like the same pedestal in my mind because I love Fury Road and I love pretty much every film Baker's done, apart from some of his really early stuff when he was first starting out. Yeah, it's the funniest film I've seen. Possibly not the funniest film ever, but it's like that level of funny. I would say when I watched it in a big crowd in a cinema. I didn't go to LFF, but I went to like a special screening for this. So I saw it early, and the vibes there were like amazing. The like when they're running around the like city and the like with the Russian goons, and they're just like quipping all these jokes, and it's just hilarious. The old man in the candy shop or whatever it was, when he didn't know what was going on, that was like it's so good. Mikey Madison. I said Josh Hartnett earlier, but she probably was my favourite performance of the year, to be fair. I think Demi Moore's going to get it over her, but I wouldn't be mad at that, to be fair. But I think Mikey Madison is the best performance of the year. The Ivan's actor was really good as well. All the supporting cast, everyone in this was just amazing. Karen Kargulian didn't get the nom. Yura Borisov did, but I think either of those two could have got it. Yura's was obviously a bit more emotionally nuanced. But yeah, this is Baker's peak. I think it's better than Florida Project. I do need to rewatch this because I've seen Florida Project twice. But yeah, this was incredible. I loved it.
Yeah, my number one as well. Pretty easily. I can't believe Karen Caligullian hasn't got anything at all because he's reffing in this movie just constantly. In a way, he's not quite like the. I guess he's not like the emotional heartbeat of the film in the way like Yuri Borisov is, because he's the way it's edited. He's in like every moment in the background, and he is obviously has that emotional moment towards the end. So it makes sense why he's kind of been pushed to the front for the supporting actor, but I think both of the other actors, honestly, a couple of them could have got in. Should have won SAG Ensemble, I think. Even though I guess some of them aren't as well known as the stacked cast of Conclave. But hopefully, I know it's kind of up there whether it's going to win Best Picture or not. I hope at least Sean Baker will get Best Director. Because obviously Brutalist is a great feat in filmmaking, getting made for less than 10 million, but I think that Anora is a movie that only Sean Baker could have really made. It's very much a Sean Baker film, and in that sense, I think is why should get director. It's got all of his kind of like traits and stuff and like themes that he's kind of looked at over the last 20 years of his career, which I love. Pretty much all these films. His run of Florida Project, Red Rocket, and Anora is incredible. All kind of equally great. I think Florida Project would be number one and Anora number two for me right now. But yeah, this was just, again, definitely the funniest film all year. I can't think of a film that I've laughed more in a theater. Just everybody was losing it pretty much throughout the whole film, and it definitely helps. It's such a funny film. But yeah, Baker's such a unique talent for making you invested into characters, and the fact that he finally got like, I know she's not a star, but I think she is going to be on to now to be like a really top like A-list star. Hopefully, Mickey Madison finally won. Not to disrespect Simon Rex, because I think he's a really good actor as well. But I think to have someone put up a performance of this level has really made the film so great, and I really hope that if it does win Best Picture, she gets carried along with it. Because it'd be a bit weird if Anora wins, but the leading character Anora doesn't go along with it. But I won't be upset with Demi Moore winning. This was my only 5 of the year and my number one.
Where is it, Oscar, for you?
I got rid of my list. 1 moment. Let me have a look.
It's fine, because you're about to name a number one that me and Ryan don't have in our top 10. So.
Yeah, I was just about to say, which is crazy, by the way. Anora is 22nd for me.
Okay, for your standards, that's not bad.
Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. So my number one. Disappointed in you two that this isn't in either of your top 10s, but it is Ramel Ross's Nickel Boys, without a doubt, by a mile, the Best Picture nomination this year, and it's not even close. Nothing even touches it. I saw this back at London Film Festival in October, and I've rewatched it since. There's Ramel Ross talks about kind of Black history in a way that through film that is like usually really objective. You know, there's this point of view that everything is told kind of as it was, and what he wanted to bring in this adaptation is a level of subjectivity, that everything is the kind of level of history and idea of fading memories is not so dead set and more ambiguous. And I think that is it. It is so beautiful. And I know people are saying, oh, like this film would have been so much more emotional without the first person thing. Please just shut up, man. Please. It's so annoying.
That's not ridiculous.
Shut up. That's like the worst thing. There is such a connection to nature and touch and life through this first person camera. It gives life to people who aren't alive, and you feel so much closer to things that characters touch and nature and the way that the characters looking. There's such a contrast between looking up and looking down in this film, looking into the sky, and there's it's such an incredible way of translating a book, and the book is called The Nickel Boys and the film is just called Nickel Boys, and he kind of takes away the taking away the just, I don't know, it's like it's almost indescribable. He
Just you're in their perspective.
makes it more
It
makes it more slightly more universal in a way. And I think there is so much in this film that represents more than just the two boys in there, that just represents all of the victims who lost their lives from that school. And the way he kind of replaces the images of pain with just shots, archival footage of faces of the people who died, and like the use of archival footage as a whole is so well placed. And yeah, I just is insane. Just the scene where I've forgotten her name, the aunt or whatever, goes to hug Turner, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, no, I'll remember that next time." And then, like, you get to the end of the film, and like, the next time is like the most devastating thing ever. And I don't know, it's just the images are just permanently imprinted into my mind from this film. The kind of reflections are so sad, and just the way you're kind of looking back on yourself, kind of looking at both what's beyond and looking into you. And yeah, I just, this subjectivity to this point of view, and the way it switches in between, and like bits are kind of we kind of skip over sections, and the younger years are kind of that's why it's kind of shorter part of the film, because of the way our kind of mind works with forgetting as we kind of grow older. And there's a lot of cutting with the editing in kind of the younger years. And yeah, I don't know, just perfect film. My favorite film of the decade, honestly. And the shots of like empty shoes and empty suits as well. I don't know, just hits every time. And there's even thematically, I think there's a lot going on, but I think it's all brought back to this idea of memory. And yeah, beautiful. I've said that word a lot today, but I don't know, this film just hits different for me.
I'm not going to comment because I feel bad about disrespecting your pick so far.
Yeah, you should, and especially this film.
Best of the
It's a good film.
For 24th best of the year is crazy.
It's so good.
No, I won't go in it too much. It's very good. I just thought, same as Ryan, the thing that makes it interesting also made it like emotionally a bit disconnected for me.
Rewatch it.
I watched it in like the perfect conditions, but okay.
Yeah, rewatch it. I loved it on first watch, but on second watch, I just went above and beyond for me.
Maybe. I don't know. I just never quite got the. But to be fair, I think I would have liked it even less without that technique. So it's a weird one, because I think without the filmmaking technique, it would have been really. I don't want to be too harsh and say generic, but like unspectacular. The narrative. But no, it's a good film. It's still a 4 for me. But yeah, it's nowhere near my top 10, to be honest.
So my top 30. It's a good film.
24 for me.
Crazy. Every time I see stills and shots of that film on Twitter, I'm just like, man, it's like the greatest film ever.
Got the best picture on to get people to see it.
True, but Amazon,
over
I'm going to
100K now.
murder you. I'm going to murder you, Amazon. You've absolutely butchered the worse than what A24 do with their films. Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, just 4:3. The aspect ratio just it feels like real life. I don't know. There's something about it is so beautiful, and yeah, what a film.
Isn't it a debut narrative feature film as well? Because he's on a
It is
documentary.
he's done a documentary, so it's not his first feature, but yeah.
That is crazy, to be fair, to come out with that. So he's got like a really promising career. He's really good to listen to on that director's.
Oh, he's so
roundtable.
good to listen to. His voice is so nice, and he's such a great speaker. But yeah, I will be extremely excited to see what he does next.
He doesn't have anything announced, does he?
I don't think so. Not that I know of.
Okay, nice. Well, that was our top 10. Let us know what your top 10 was or what your favorite film of the year was. And if you disagree with any of our top 10 picks, but
You're not allowed
we're doing
to.
Parasite next week.
Yeah, we'll do some sort of
Yes.
bong.
Bong Joon-ho
Bong
film.
Joon-ho. Yeah.
And preparation for Mickey 17, which is in just 2 weeks now, I think.
A week on Friday.
Ooh,
Been
that's
waiting
very
for
close. I'm very
years,
excited
can't
for
we?
that. Finally, a great 2025 film.
It's not been a bad start.
Wait. Presence is borderline
Presence was
great.
good.
Presence is a 4. I liked Companion. I won't say anything on the monkey. That's
Companion's
just
good.
a lot.
There's been some good films.
Monkey sucks.
Yeah, something Bong Joon-ho related. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye.